Oh, hey George. Came back to see you. So glad to see you. Oh, Jason. Oh, damn. So glad to see you too, mate. Hey, Jason. I saw you on TV in the White House Assembly. Well, for some reason that me and my son James were watching you on live, but just in case, I just came to see you. Where were you last 2 weeks? Where were you last few weeks then? Well, George, I came to went to White House Assembly, talked to every these people about the homicide lockdown. Well, actually, George, for some of the reasons that we don't really think we were friends, but for some of the reasons that we always do. But actually, George, I'm always came to see you for once again. But for some of the reasons that I made a few things about what I did to other people, but other people were upsetting the balance of power, so they didn't get any money or buying it from the shops. I know it's sad though, George, but I'm sorry. But for some of the reasons though, I didn't mean it to do anything harm to you, George. Because everything, I know it's unfinished lockdown, but I'm sorry. Because I didn't mean it to do anything but harm. It's a harmony, but for some reason, George, I feel bad for Harsh though, but James didn't make anything difference to you though, George, but I'm really sorry though. Come bring your chair and start bringing your chair and talk to me if you want to, George. Oh yeah, sure, Jason. Yeah, sure, of course I'll do. Oh. So, Jason, what are you gonna tell? Do you know anything about the lockdown? Okay, George. I know there's something about the homicide lockdown, but, I've been recently talked to every these people about the lockdown, but, for some reason, George, I'll have to be respectful, but for some reason, George, it's bad. But you know what, George? I'm not kinda useless, but, I wasn't kinda useless, but for some other people might wanna hear, but I know it's a lockdown, George. I'm sorry. But for some reason, George, I'm always wanted to give you more ideas that the lockdown is unfinished, but I'm sorry. But I didn't mean it to do anything much time. But for some reason, George, I'll have to give you one thing, that it is a lockdown. Because I made a few things that is not resourceable, but I'm sorry. But I'm really sorry though, George. I know it's a lot of few things that it's real reality, but I'm sorry. But the thing is now, George, I cannot just give you some examples that it doesn't really make any difference to others. But for some reason, George, I'll have to be more quicker, because I made everything suffered for the last term, but for some reason, George, because I didn't do it on purpose, but I know the lockdown is very bad. All the shops, takeaways, fast food, restaurants, cafes are remaining closed, so they're still remaining because they're closed because of a lockdown. But there were just a few remaining shops and takeaways, but can't even go. But unfortunately, George, it's bad. But I know it's bad though, George, because I'm only just wanted to tell you that I know the lockdown is kind of restrict. It's restrictly lockdown. But the homicide lockdown is restrict. I know it is restricted. They were heavily guarded, but they were well protected by heavily guards. But heavy guards are very armored. Police, FBI, SWATs, and mechanism guards. Yeah. But the few things that I'm only just wanted to give you things already, but you know, I have to give you some advice about that thing, George. You know. But for some reason though, I can't just forgive anyone who could never ever saved their lives, but to be honest though, George, but you do the right thing, but we made the right thing too. But actually, it doesn't really matter. We'll make it too quick. But nothing. Bad. But it's not simply complicated, but I know it's too complicated though, George. I'm just asking, but I was just telling you about the lockdown, but for some other reasons, George, but I know James didn't go anywhere, but he's safe right now. You know? Real? But for real? But I'm always just thinking of, but he doesn't feel any attractive, but he doesn't look very unpleasant, but I know James is absolutely unpleasant to you, but you know, George, the things right now, but a few years ago, but I feel bad for James. I know he's a good guy, but you know, he's a good person. He's a good behavior right now, isn't he? But I know he's a good man, though, George. I just gave him some treats, so just for the day, just for the week. So I'm just respecting to him for helping us. But from now on, George, you might want to give somebody else, do you? Would you know this? But would you know anything about that? Yes, Jason. But the only things right now, Jason, but I know I feel bad. I know. I feel bad for my son. It's not taking everything for long. But actually, Jason, you can do the right thing for what you have done. Alright? If you're gonna be careful, you will be careful while you're out there. Alright? But to be honest with me, you get the right thing to do. Personally. But you did the right thing. But you made it the most thing that you ever seen in my life. But for the change though, Jason, you did it whatsoever. But I suppose so, Jason. But the only things now, but, you know, I think I should stay safe for now, but I've already know everything. I've told my son to stay safe. He'll be safe. But we both gotta be safe. But what about you? Me? Actually, George, stay safe, okay? Look after your family. And James. Yeah? I gotta go, George. Stay safe. Always be proud. As always. Okay? I'm always want to see you again. Okay? Stay safe. And don't go anywhere else. Okay? Bye.